Help! That's what this video is about. How to ask for help. This course follows a self-directed learning pattern, and you'll be doing these challenges on your own and then building out your own application inside of Glitch. And I want to show you a little bit of the problem-solving process I use, and then when that fails to, solve my problem, how to ask for help in a way that you'll get help exactly as you need it. So first off, you'll be working on a problem in FreeCodeCamp on your own. You'll be reading this stuff on the left, doing the challenge on the right, and then clicking Run the test. Now, when you do that, you can see that I'm not passing all of my tests. There's two things you want to say to yourself. What do I expect to happen, and what's actually happening? So I'll tell you, I'm not going to go through everything in this lesson right here, but I will say that what we expect to happen is when we click on cat photos, we expect to be zoomed down and taken to the bottom, copyright cat photo app. So what actually happens? That's what we expect to happen. Now let's compare it with what actually happens. I click on cat photos, and it opens in a new window, and it's totally weird. It's not what I expected at all. So what's going on here? Well, the next thing I do is I look at my error messages very closely. I can see I'm passing 3 out of 6 tests. There should be only one anchor tag. There is. That's what that A is, an anchor tag. If you hover over it, it tells you that. There should be only one footer tag on your page. There is. The A tag should have an href attribute set to footer. href equals footer. That passes. Okay. And then these don't pass. The A tag should not have a target attribute. Oh, I can see. I read that carefully, so I see the problem. That has a target attribute, so I'm just going to delete that whole thing. Now let me run the tests. Okay, I passed that. Passing 4 out of 6. Great. The A text should be jumped to bottom. So I'll just copy this. And I think they mean this text here. That's what they mean by A text. Yeah, that would make sense, right? I click jump to bottom and it goes to the bottom. That's what I'm trying to do. So let me run the tests. Passing, great. Let's click it. Oh, it's not working at all. Now nothing's working. Well, that's not what I anticipated. These are my thoughts out loud. I know exactly where we're going with this. The error messages here say the footer tag should have an ID attribute set to footer. Well, I do. See, href goes to footer and ID equals footer. Oh, maybe I don't need the $. Bam! That worked. So that's how that thought process goes. You just work down them one by one. Now, imagine that you couldn't figure this out. You have it footer up here. You have it like this because that's what it says. The H tag should have an href set to footer. And then let's run the test now, and it should fail. Yeah. So let's say you have this set like this, and this is like this. You just can't figure this out. For some reason, you keep missing this $. Well, here's a good way to ask for help. The first thing you'll do is just go up here to the URL inside of your browser. And we learned last time that this means Uniform Resource Locator, not Universal Resource Locator. Uniform because it has to fit a format, like a URL format. Okay. Then you click over to My Name. You're asking for help. And the first thing you do is you just post the thing. You post the thing. There you go, the link to it. Okay? And then you can say what you expect to happen. I expect the jump to bottom link to take me to the footer. And what is actually happening? Nothing. But instead, nothing happens when I click it. So those are very important questions. What do you expect to happen and what actually happens? Okay, so you can send that to me. Next thing you want to do is you want to send me your actual code. You can copy and paste this. Just click into this window. I'm on a Windows computer. I hit Control A and then Control C. That's select all, then copy. If you're on a Mac, you can hit Command A, Command C. I think Command A does it on Mac. Google that if I'm wrong. And then instead of posting it all like this, like regular text, what you actually want to do is click this little code block icon right here. And then it'll give you this light gray box that you can just post in. And the reason that you do this is that this will scroll a little differently. It's a little easier to read, and some syntax will be highlighted for me. So I can copy and paste this and put it right into there, and I can read it. So this is an advanced way to use Slack, and we have to do it. This is actually built in for programmers so that we can do this. You just copy this code block, boom, and then paste it right there, and then you send that to me. Okay, so now I can select this code block and not get any other garbage, and I can just take that, copy that, paste it right in here, and so it's the same thing. So I can see what the problem is, and then when you've done these things, you've given me the link, what you expect to happen, what actually happens, and then your code snippet. That's what that's called. It's called a code snippet. Then I can say, oh, hey, you forgot this. And also I'll add that it's a good practice to wrap these things inside of quotation marks. And the reason you want to wrap them inside of quotation marks is because you could have a longer thing like this, footer section. Okay. And this won't pass their particular test, but it will work if you watch. Let me double check that that's true. Maybe IDs can't have a space. Jump to the bottom. Oh, I know. Did you catch my mistake? I deleted the pound sign as well. There we go. And let's make sure that a space is possible inside of an ID. Jump to bottom, it is. So that's why you want to wrap them inside of quotation marks in case, this is called a string, any length of characters like this. And so it's just good practice to wrap them in quotation marks. So to pass this test, again, it just needs to say footer. There it is. And we can run the tests, and bingo bango, it works. And just to verify, you can click jump to bottom, and it goes to the bottom. Now it's working. So that's the process. You'll post this link. You'll post what you expect to happen, what's actually happening, and then you can post the code snippet. And going through all of that, I'll be able to get you an answer very quickly. I average sending 100 messages an hour between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. every day. So for those 3 hours that we have our class, I do 100 messages an hour, and this will speed it up dramatically. I can get you a solution that you need. I won't always just give you a solution. I'll sometimes say, well, have you thought about trying it this way? Or what does the error message say? Or I might even give you more than just the solution, like this quotation marks lesson. I might say, hey, it's good practice to wrap these in quotation marks. So be in touch with me, send me those messages. And that's the important thing, is to have the link, what you expect to happen, what actually happens, and then this code snippet. I'll give you one more pro tip. You can do a code snippet by hitting the back tick is what that's called. I think there's another name for it, but it's this very small tick key. If you hit that 3 times, it'll start the code snippet, and then you can type some code, hit it 3 times again, and it'll jump you out of the code snippet. Okay, again, that's the back tick character. It's located on the upper left corner of your keyboard, most keyboards, and just hit it 3 times to do that. And then you can say paragraph, blah, 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 /paragraph, okay? And that's a code snippet. That backtick thing is taken from something called Markdown. Slack used to operate exclusively with Markdown. For example, you can do a bold thing like hello, I think that's bold, yep, with asterisks. You'll learn that stuff later on, but it's just one way. Like I said, you can either click the code block or you can click the backtick 3 times and then backtick 3 times again to get out of there. But that's how you can submit code snippets. It's also useful. You'll see me saying something like, hey, you need to fix your P tag. You might ask yourself, well, how did you make this P show up like that, right? How did you make that show up like a piece of code? Well, it's just one single backtick, and that tells it that it's an inline piece of code. Whereas 3 backticks will give you a block of code as you see up above. So that's some, now you're pro coding 101 at this point. That's the tricks that you need to know. I do want to talk about how we can make this a little, this problem solving and asking for help, doing the same thing in Glitch. Because Glitch doesn't have tests you can run, and you're still going to run into errors. So you're not going to have tests, but you will have errors. So there's another lesson that I was working with. Yes, this one. So I'll tell you again what I expect to happen. And so basically I've just gone to my profile inside of Glitch, and I can do that from the top again. I'll show you how that's done from the top. Here's the thing I'm working on. I'm going to edit the project, loading the project. All right, here it is. Then what you want to do is show, and you want to do next to code, because you want to see the thing right next to it. This is so you can make some changes and then see it. Now, what I expect to happen is, this is my quiz that I'm making. What is the hero's name in The Legend of Zelda? I expect that you can select one of these and then submit your answer. But because it's a multiple choice, it's also, we call that a radio button, you're only supposed to be able to select one of them, right? You can't select 2 names for the hero's name. So if I think, oh, his name is Mario, no, his name is Zelda, wait, his name is Link, you'll see that I've got a bug in my software where I'm able to select all 4, and that's very weird. So I can submit my answer, and I'm able to select all 4 things. So that's a bug in Glitch, and you know that Glitch is different than Free Code Camp. I don't have errors. It doesn't tell me, what's going on. I have to think about it and work down this problem-solving process. One of the things I do the first step is I take something that worked before and apply it in my Glitch program and figure out, okay, this worked. Why doesn't it work now? So here I'm going to take some radio buttons that worked for me, copy those, and I'm going to just put them above. And you can see with these radio buttons, I can click one and the other isn't clicked. I'm going to use this break element to give me more space just so I can see what I'm talking about. And again, I can click this and it works, and it's only selecting the one thing. So what is the difference between these 2 things? Well, with radio buttons, you can only select one or the other. So they're under some sort of grouping, which is this name, indoor, outdoor. You can see indoor, outdoor, okay? Here, each one of these radio buttons has an individual name, which is kind of a problem. What you really want is something like heroes, I'll just say hero name, because that's the question we're asking. What is the hero's name? So now what happens if I take this and I just paste it in? Now it works. Everything is under this one thing, hero name. Just like up here with this working piece of code that I had, everything is under the name indoor, outdoor. Great. So that's one way to solve things in Glitch, is like find a way that it worked before in Free Code Camp. I just had it working. Copy and paste it, put it over here, and then see what you got that's going wrong. That's really the extent of it. And then if you do all that and you can't come up with a solution, that's a good time to post it to me. And with Glitch, it's even easier to send it to me. You can actually just take the file. You can just, I think you can just share this project page. You can either, so this is the actual project page where I can edit the project. But you can take that URL up at the top too. Just copy that and just paste it to me. And then I'll be able to open it, and Glitch won't actually it won't allow me to edit your thing. It'll allow me to copy your thing and then edit it. In programming terms, that's called forking your code. I can fork it. I can just break it off into its own fork and then work on it on my own and see what the issue is. So again, you would send me the link and you would say, I expect the radio buttons to only select one at a time. What's actually happening? But actually, they are all selected. So you would send that to me, and that's easier with Glitch. You don't have to send me the code snippet because I can just click into it and then see the code snippet right there. So the key thing is that I also want you to take away is don't skip things that you can't understand or that you don't understand yet. If you're going through free code camp and you're like, this is annoying, I don't want to do this, I'll skip it and do something more fun, right? Turning an image to a link, I'm not going to do that one. Whatever it is, if you skip something, we can't do that because these skills stack. You'll find that these skills are necessary and used in other ways as we go through with programming. Even in the way like turning an image into a link, you're like, well, I'll never really do that. I'll do something else. Well, that's in a different framework. That thing that you learned is used a different way, and so it's very valuable. Don't skip things if you don't understand. I'd much rather you send me a message in Slack so that I can get to it and help you out and build upon those skills. The other thing is don't copy and paste an answer from somewhere and just to complete a challenge. The name of the game isn't about completing challenges. It's about building your learning and scaffolding your learning. Like I said, these skills all stack. So if you just copy and paste just to move on, well, we're going to call on that skill at a later date. And if you're not able to execute it, there's going to be that gap in your knowledge that you're going to have to go back. It's actually going to slow you down. It's much better to take it slow and understand everything step by step. So that is help and how to ask for it.